In the top stories, Police High Command addresses videos of a scuffle on Keon Street involving police officers. St. Lucia student leader calls for better conflict resolution, and Mariupol residents bury their dead in mass graves. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Friday, the 11th of March, 2022. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, the police are investigating the circumstances surrounding an incident that occurred on Friday, March 4 in the Bastille area involving a police officer and civilians. A statement issued on Thursday by the Police High Command said following the incident, several videos circulated on social media showing parts of what happened. The High Command understands that the images appear troubling to the members of the public. The statement concluded by assuring the general public that the matter will be looked into thoroughly and will be treated with the urgency and importance that it deserves. The Department of Gender Affairs on Nevis has launched a new initiative called the Gender Champions Program. The launch took place at the International Women's Day Awards ceremony on March 8 at the Nevis Performing Arts Center. Colin Kezron Archibald and Joy Napier, the first male and female champions in the program, were presented with their instruments of appointment to the ministry by Junior Minister of Health and Gender Affairs, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. According to the instruments of appointment, the gender champions are appointed to promote the programs, initiatives, and causes of the department for the benefit of all Nevisians and in pursuance of the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular Goal number 5, which deals with gender equality. Both Mr. Archibald and Ms. Napier were selected for their work in gender-related matters in keeping with the department's agenda. Mr. Archibald is an international cricketer, a recording artist, and a mentor to budding cricketers on Nevis, while Ms. Napier served as the Caribbean Community or CARICOM Youth Ambassador for St. Kitts and Nevis and is a national representative to the Commonwealth Council. A partnership between the federal government and the government of the Republic of China Taiwan has resulted in the establishment of the St. Kitts and Nevis Solid Waste Management and Recycling Project, which will help in the management and the reduction of waste. A ceremony was held at the Solid Waste Management Conference Room in Taylor's Range recently to officially launch the 3-year $1 million St. Kitts and Nevis Solid Waste Management and Recycling Project. In his brief remarks, Resident Ambassador of the Republic of China, Taiwan, His Excellency Michael Lin said, quote, "The government of St. Kitts and Nevis and Taiwan will work hand in hand in the project, which aims at reducing waste generation, raising the reusing rate of resources, and promoting the concept of circular economy in St. Kitts and Nevis," end quote. Project Coordinator Joyce Chang, in giving details of the project, noted that St. Kitts and Nevis produces more than 32,000 metric tons of waste per year, which is about 1.67 kilograms per person per day, which is much higher than the global average of 0.99 kilograms per person in Latin America and the Caribbean, adding that it causes the landfill to be overloaded. She advised that the 3-year project scope and goals are to establish recycling models and mechanisms while at the same time increasing the efficiency of garbage sorting and recycling. The project steering committee, which is expected to lend support to the successful implementation of the project, is composed of persons from St. Kitts and Nevis drawn from the Department of Environment, International Trade, etc., Small Business Development Center, and Solid Waste Management, both on St. Kitts and Nevis. We now move to news on the regional scene. A student leader in St. Lucia, Alain's Plant, is calling for the island's students to be educated about conflict resolution. This follows a fighting incident caught on camera between girls of a secondary school in the north of the island. Here's more.
A video of a fight between female students of a secondary school in the north has caught the attention of student leader Alain's Plant. The police have come under heavy criticism for not intervening in the brawl which took place in the vicinity of the police station. Plant, however, believes that they should not be blamed.
It happened within the vicinity of the police station, but sometimes the police may not have seen the fight or what was going on at the time. I mean, commotion may be going outside, but it's normal of secondary school students to, just be boisterous and loud at times, especially in the community. So I don't think it would have been something that the police would have maybe seen at the time. But now that they have actually seen the video, I hope that the school will get involved and they will resolve that conflict. And speaking of resolving conflicts,
Emotional intelligence notes Plant is lacking among students. He has called for greater education about conflict resolution, which could help diminish the incidence of such occurrences.
I believe that for our students, we must understand that fighting is not a way to resolve our conflicts. We have realized the high number of gun violence and things going on in our country now, and it's really, really crazy. So I believe at this time, our students must understand that they must be emotionally intelligent, and fighting is not a way to resolve conflict. And I call on the Ministry of Education and our teachers and parents to put mechanisms in place where students can know how to resolve conflicts, and that particularly starts from the home. From the home, students must know how to resolve conflict among their siblings, etc. And when they go to school, how to resolve petty conflicts among their peers, because these things escalate. Sometimes we think it's games as well, but it escalates and it gets really bad on the part of a student.
The student leader has also called for schools to be armed with more counselors to support students' mental and emotional needs. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
Returning nationals to Antigua and Barbuda no longer need to present COVID test results except if showing symptoms. ABS News reports.
Vaccinated returning nationals will no longer need a COVID-19 test to return home. Cabinet has decided a test will only be required if the traveler is showing symptoms of possible infection. Chief of Staff in the Prime Minister's office, Ambassador Lionel Hurst, says unvaccinated returning nationals, however, will continue to be required to test no more than 4 days before boarding. The quarantine mandate for those individuals remains in effect.
That valid COVID test will allow them to get on board the aircraft. However, when they arrive Antigua, they are going to be placed in quarantine for a period as long as 14 days. So we encourage them to get vaccinated if they can.
Ambassador Hurst asserts visitors to the country must be fully vaccinated and do not require a valid PCR or rapid antigen tests.
This is a request that has come from the hotels. They are very pleased to have full hotels without the benefit of inviting anyone to join their staff and other guests who are all vaccinated. And they want to keep it that way.
They will need to be gazetted before coming into effect. Sherilyn Beezer reporting for ABS News.
Internationally, residents have been cowering under fire and without power or water in the strategically important city of over 400,000 people for more than a week, and attempts to arrange a local ceasefire and safe passage out of Mariupol have failed repeatedly. 3 people were killed in an attack on a hospital in Mariupol this week, Ukrainian officials said. France 24 reports.
Shocking images showing the scale of destruction in Mariupol. Ukrainian officials say Russian forces have intensified their bombardment of the port city on Thursday, as the base of the state emergency services was destroyed by shelling, and firefighters dig through rubble for survivors in residential areas. It comes a day after the bombing of a maternity hospital on Wednesday, with 3 dead and scores wounded from the devastating strike that destroyed a children's and a maternity ward.
I don't have a home anymore. That's why I'm moving. Why else would I be walking about? It doesn't exist anymore. It was hit.
The strategically located city has been subject to heavy bombardment for several days, and its mayor claims over 1,200 have been killed in the pounding, and mass graves up to 25 meters long have been dug for those who've been lost.
I have 9 kids. Pray for Mariupol. We're being bombed from all directions. Pray for mothers with children, please. It's very hard here. We have no water, no food, no electricity. It's so scary getting through this.
Situated by the Sea of Azov, Mariupol is a key strategic target for Russia, as seizing it would allow for a land corridor between Russian-backed rebels in the east with troops in Crimea. The city remains cut off from communications, with depleting resources of food and drinking water.
American actor Jussie Smollett has begun serving a 150-day sentence for staging a hate crime hoax in 2019. ABC News' Andrea Fuji has the details.
This morning, actor Jussie Smollett is in an Illinois jail cell, sentenced to 150 days behind bars after being found guilty of lying to authorities. But in a bizarre outburst after receiving his sentence, Smollett continued to claim his innocence, suggesting he could be killed in jail.
I am not suicidal. Okay? I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal.
The 39-year-old was a rising star on the TV show Empire when in 2019 he claimed two men attacked him as he was walking back to his Chicago home. He said they yelled racial and homophobic slurs and put a noose around his neck. But authorities questioned his story when Smollett refused to fully cooperate. The prosecution arguing it was all a hoax, and Smollett hired these two brothers, extras on Empire, to carry out the attack. All while Smollett denied the accusations.
I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I have been accused of.
After his sentencing Thursday, Smollett's family continuing to support him while lashing out at the judge.
He shamed my brother. He spoke about his arrogance. He doesn't know the struggles my brother is encountering. He doesn't know anything that he's dealing with. He doesn't know anything that he's dealing with. He's spent all that time shaming him.
My brother does not deserve this. I watched my brother go from being a complete victim, which he still is. He was attacked.
And as Smollett headed to jail, with fists raised, he continued to make his case.
I am not suicidal. Stop laughing about black. I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
Smollett was also sentenced to 30 months of felony probation and ordered to pay back more than $120,000 for police overtime while working his case.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are partly cloudy with showers in the vicinity. The temperature for today is 27 degrees Celsius or 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are a moderate breeze of 15 miles per hour from the northeast. Seas are moderate with waves of 5 to 8 feet. A small craft advisory is in effect for the Atlantic side of the islands. Weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis for today will be mostly cloudy with a 70% or a high chance of showers. Tonight's forecast will be partly cloudy to cloudy with a 50% or moderate chance of showers. Sunset today will be at 6:20 p.m., sunrise tomorrow at 6:22 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.